There will always be someone doing more than you. And I think it comes down to the fact that like more doesn't equal better.
Confidence is a choice, not a feeling. So many people wait. They're like, oh, I like want to be confident and I want to feel confident. You have to choose to be confident.
I had to tell myself I'm the best to take off the pressure because the pressure wasn't helping me.
Guys, welcome back to Kicking It Real. I really put a lot of hype on this episode, and it's going to be, it is very special, but we have our first repeat guest. We got a repeater. If you haven't listened to Alli's episode, it's episode 14. I love that. I remember that. I did not look that up beforehand. Episode 14, but we're back and we're hanging out today. So Alli, welcome back to Kicking It Real.
Oh my gosh, we're so back. I love it.
As you said that, I've like actually really went back to like deja vu of when we recorded last time. I think your hair was the same. You weren't wearing glasses though.
Yeah, this is my typical. Yeah, it's also so hot out.
Yeah, did you see my story? It's so humid, and I had to take who on a WALK, and I like braided it and like tucked it into the hat. But I didn't retouch it, so it actually kind of worked.
Yeah, no,
I did it. I did it the other day, and it was like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, where it was like all the curl. I put it in a bun, and then all the curls were poking like different directions, and I was like, okay, so we're gonna wear it up now. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I curled my hair.
Your hair looks good straight though. I fear. Okay, well, just for continuity's sake, what are you kicking it with lately?
Oh my gosh, what am I kicking it with lately?
Were you expecting this?
I did kind of think about she's going to ask me that, but I didn't think of an answer. I was like, I can think of something on the spot. I think I am kicking it with just like trusting myself more, but also not making that like a deep thing. Specifically in school, my therapist told me to like make things a joke, which probably sounds really bad, but like just making it a joke that I'm in a lab being a scientist when.
That's my favorite lore of yours.
Yeah.
Is this the scientist lab coat? I think I said this in the last episode you were in too, but it's like a very common thread or like a parallel to the picture I have of you at Whole Foods in the year 2021.
Yep.
Maybe 22. But like, yeah, because that's also my favorite. It's sometimes on your story too, or like you'll send me pictures of you in a lab coat. And it's really good. Yeah, but okay. But on a serious note, I agree with that. And I also, I'm going to say if you didn't know, I don't know why anyone would know this except Garrett and Nate, but like we're pretty much coworkers at this point. Mm-hmm. So like we're always talking and like the way our lives are so different. And Alli will like tell me her schedule and I'm like, that's really a lot. And you're like, yeah, like I'm kind of just like panicking, but it's also fine.
Yeah, that's what I have to say. So I don't freak out. But I know our lives are literally so different, but it doesn't like feel like that because we just talk about it all the time.
Yeah, because we co-work and mostly it looks like us on FaceTime, just like, but not speaking.
No, silence.
Just silent. Or then like a one-off like conversation and it's usually the one of us doesn't really care. We're just like, okay, we're going to listen for support.
Mm-hmm. Or I hear like the reel that you're editing just over and over and like the same words just over.
Yeah, I'll be like, do you want me to mute myself? You're like, nah, it's fine. I'm like, okay, well, here we are. Okay. What are you kicking to the curb?
I am kicking to the curb. Maybe just, I think stress. I don't know. I kind of liked what I said to you earlier when I was like, sometimes I think we got to put like boundaries to our stress. Like
we got to put it in its place.
Exactly. Like, why am I stressing about something that doesn't happen for like 3 hours?
Also, like you said for the first one, like it's not that deep. Most of our stress is not that deep. Like my stress load today is, getting everything I want to get done, but also then like we're having Garrett's birthday party tomorrow and I want to be better about not leaving things till the last minute. And I like to go big on decorations, which is a whole other thing we could dissect and diagnose. But I'm like, oh, gotta get it all done. And I'm like, I said to you, I was like, also, I could just stay up late. Like worst case scenario, it's Friday. It's like, also
it's so fun.
It's fun. I think you were like, it's literally a birthday party also. Like,
yeah, it's so fun. Like, so what if you're up all night decorating for a birthday party? Like, that's awesome life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to not. You guys, I said like the vibe for this episode is just like hanging out. And I'm like, I fear I'll take it too seriously. So I'm going to try to stay. I got my notes to keep me like somewhat on track, but we had a lot of like nice questions submitted and no one knew it was you coming on. Wow. And some of the questions, I'm like, wow, this is a really good guess. There's one in particular, I'm like, couldn't be me having an answer for that. And you'll know it when you hear it. But, okay. But before we get into questions, I was just trying to also put myself like in the brains of us when we like first moved to New York and like what we were dealing with, because that's kind of like the questions I was anticipating on getting. But what were your expectations moving to New York versus reality? Because I feel like mine were like kind of the same almost. I don't know.
Like we have the same expectations, or like your expectations?
No. Yeah, I don't know what your expectations were.
Oh, okay. I think my expectations, it was very open-ended where it was just like, I just want to live in New York City. And I knew like with that, I was very like open. I think I did have the expectation of like, I need to make friends.
Yeah.
That was just a thing. And I knew it was going to be hard, especially like money. Like I knew that stress, like it was already there before I had moved, and I knew that was going to be a thing. Yeah. I don't know. I might think of some more, but that's like,
yeah. Well, I feel like the friends thing too. I feel like that wasn't a fear of mine then, and I don't think it's like a fear now, but it's a very obvious like struggle. And I think we knew moving from New York to Houston, it would be hard. But like back then, it was like built-in friends. Yeah.
I just knew it was going to happen. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make friends. Easy.
Yeah. We were destined to be together. Obviously. Also, we are like very opposite, actually, not our morals, but like as humans, we are so opposite. Yeah. Well, because I think we probably talked about this in your other episode, but if you didn't listen to it yet, like we first met, did we talk or did Shout Out Rank just like say we needed to connect?
We like texted just to like,
we did.
You were like, oh, I'm moving on May 15th. And I was like, I'm moving on June 1st.
I do remember that. I do remember that, actually.
I think we didn't talk until like the intensive, I think.
We did the precision intensive and I rolled in 5 minutes before we started. Yeah. Which isn't like, that's actually not on brand for me. Like I show up later than you do, but like I'm not late like that.
Yeah. No, that was crazy. I did like, say spot though, I think.
Yeah. I think and that was really comforting because I think when I woke up at 8:20 for the 9 a.m. intensive, I was like, do I just not go? Yeah. I mean, I think I immediately started getting ready, but like that did cross my mind for a second. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Crazy.
But did you think differently of me when that happened, or?
No, because I think you had said like, oh, my alarm didn't go off. I was like, oh, that's terrible.
Classic. Classic.
No, but I didn't box you into that at all.
Gosh, yeah, you're so open-minded. Wow. Yeah. Which I feel like is also why our friendship like worked a little bit too.
Well, I also think I was just like, I was also like going through it. Like I had also just moved there. Like I was so consumed with my own like meeting so many people. Like I didn't have time or energy to really think that hard about you.
Ooh, that's a real point, because I was just talking to someone who just recently moved to New York, like dancing and everything. And she is like in her head about dancing and like what people are thinking of her, whether they're like currently booked professionals or peer, whoever. And I'm like, dude, no one's thinking about you in class. And if they are, like they got some issues, because you got to be focused on yourself. Like not in like a, oh my God, you got to focus on yourself, but like you kind of do. Like what's the point of taking a class if you're going to be just like watching other people?
I think also being on the other side of it all, like not living there anymore, I can like look back and be like, every month that I was dancing in New York, I had like a different thing going on up here, like when I was taking class, right? So some people that you're taking class with, they like just moved to New York, or maybe they've been there for 10 years. Maybe they just booked their dream job. Maybe they just ended their contract. Like everyone is in such a different place that they're all thinking something different anyways. I feel like seeing it that way helps a lot to just like release. Like we are all the same, but also all so different. So we can't play all those games in our head.
Yeah, no games. No games here, except for the holding it game.
Yeah, that's the only game allowed.
Yeah, Alli and I would in class. This is a little like low key unhinged because I feel like we also were annoying about it, like a little bit in the best way.
Yeah, probably for sure.
Okay, well, for reference, we would in precision, the idea is you like really hold movement through the last moment. And then there's no what's pathway. You're supposed to just go to the next thing, like no path. Like we don't want to see movement. But anyways, so it would always be like we would play like an unspoken. It was spoken actually, but to everyone else, unspoken game in the mirror of like who would hold things the longest. But then we would be like laughing about it. But I feel like that's why like it worked for us though, because we took it seriously, but not too serious.
Yeah. No, I agree. It made it fun. I think that's really what it came down to.
Yeah, like and this was pre your therapist telling you to be less serious, I think.
True.
So like maybe you were already less serious than we thought and like regulated the nervous system.
Yeah, I just gotta like shift it to science.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I have another question. This is my own question.
Okay.
What was you moved to New York June 1st, May 31st. June 1st. That's pretty close. You moved to New York June 1st, 2021, 147th Street. 48th. Dang, 48th. 148th Street. What was your biggest fear moving to New York?
My biggest fear was that I wasn't gonna like make it happen. And then it was all gonna be like
what happen?
Just everything. I like literally, that's the thing. I didn't have like a specific, of course I wanted to be a Rockette. And I think maybe that was what was underneath that thought. But I remember texting my mom like all the time, like, I'm just like, I'm so scared. And she would always tell me like, we're taking it month by month. Like we do this for a month. And I think sometimes she would like say something differently of like, we're taking it year by year, like try this for this year. And then we reevaluate. And I thought that was a really good way to go about it because my mind just works in like a very, sometimes I catch it, but it works in a very all or nothing place where it's like, it either works and it's perfect and everything is awesome, or it's like just a failure and I'm like living on the streets, which, I had to find the gray and be like, okay, we can
living on the streets.
Yeah. But that was my biggest fear. I think it was around money, like not knowing how it was all gonna, add up.
Yeah.
Mathing.
See,
my mind, but
I feel like that's also where we differ. Like, I think I should sometimes have more fear about logistical things. Like my fears, I feel are all like, at least were, maybe not anymore. I'm a very different person now, but my fears then I feel were so ego based versus like money, logistic. Like I would stress about money, like that kind of stuff. But I feel like my fear, I was like, well, figure it out. Like, I think I literally would say like, well, like I won't live on the streets. Like someone, like I'll just go home before that, like, so, which is that's why it's the yin yang.
I think it was like the money thing, but I think like under that was like just me being happy. And I knew that like if like money was an issue, like I would constantly be stressing about that. And like that's not happiness to me, really. If I'm constantly stressing about that. Like I think it was that, it was dance, like working out for me. But it really came down to just like the happiness. And of course, like that's different sources of that for everyone. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Do you feel like when you first moved, you had like in a good way, a definition of success? or no?
I don't think I thought about it in that way of like, how do I define success? No, when I first moved there, no. I think it's something that grew when I was there. I remember something that I felt a lot was like this frustration of like, I'm so confident in myself and my abilities, and I want to like show that, or like I want other people to notice in like booking a job, you know?
Yeah.
I have felt that so much. I think when it comes down to like definition of success, it was probably that, like proving myself. Like,
I can relate to that. Yeah, like feel like you have something to prove and like
yeah.
knowing, which I don't think has to be a bad thing. Also, I think I saw something one time about someone, like if your original like intent or inspiration to do something is to prove someone or something wrong or prove yourself, whatever, it, as long as it usually evolves into something else, and as long as it's a good thing, like I mean, any motive is good motive, and then that usually turns into other things, which I think is also a big part. I mean, actually, there is a question about this, but just to touch on it anyways, like we went to multiple auditions together for other things. Like we didn't book it.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, if I can't book this, how am I going to become a Rockette?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think I might have said that too.
I remember you saying that because I was like, dude, I also didn't book it.
So you're like, so be nicer. Thank you. Like you're being rude. No, I feel like there were times you're like, dude, you're stressing me out. I'm like, yeah, I don't mean it at you, but like,
no, yeah, of course. And that's just like, that's what we talked through. And you know, you have to have a space to talk through that. I think the thing with even just like the definition of success, but also just like wanting to prove yourself a bit, I think what we are similar in that is that we like enjoyed that push. Like I loved the drive to like prove myself and show.
Yeah. So, do you feel, like, cause I agree with that. I think that, I don't, I actually, maybe I'm going to wait before I say anything, but do you remember those people in New York who were like in the same position as us, but like were financially in a different situation? And I know I talked to you about this. I remember for a while being insecure because I wasn't taking as many classes as other people, even as you, I feel like sometimes, and not like, I just was like working a lot because that's the job I had to do and I needed to like make money. And when I first was at Pure Barre, I was making significantly less than I was by the time I was, you know, done there, and I could not make ends meet. And I would like get in my head about that. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think when I really think about my like relationship with like money and the numbers of classes and other people, you know, obviously everyone comes from a different background. I think the thing for me was that I was working so hard like on the weekends and all the things, but I also knew that like no matter what, I would have like my family's support. Like they weren't going to just like let me, you know, live on the streets. And so
or were they?
Yeah, who knows? But with that, it's like if I wanted to do a dance intensive, if I wanted to take more classes, like I knew I would have the help. But for me, like it came with so much like guilt where I was like, I want to be supporting myself. Like, and I couldn't live with like taking class off of like someone else's money in a way, you know? And so I like had to kind of like juggle that for myself. It's like, okay, I can either, you know, work on this comparison of like, oh, this person is taking so many classes and I'm not. I can work on that comparison, or I can just take all the classes, but have to, you know, also work on that guilt that was coming up. And like, that was creating just so many more issues. That, of course. And I think like the whole comparison thing is something that you have to work on anyways. There will always be someone doing more than you. And I think it comes down to the fact that like more doesn't equal better at all.
Well, because I think for me, like two parts. One, what you just said of more isn't always more. And it forced me to like, when I could take class, like I was locked in and I was super intentional about the classes I took. And for me personally, granted, it's different if I'm in a workshop and I'm like, okay, we're locking in for the week. We're taking class all day, like totally different. But like on a normal day, I was never that person that could go to like steps and take 3 back-to-back classes. Like I would be checked out by the end, physically, mentally. And it forced me quickly to realize that like it doesn't always matter how much you're taking. And also like that those people weren't necessarily getting ahead. And maybe that it was good for them and that's totally fine too. But I think it made me have to be more confident in myself because I had no choice. Do you know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, yeah. People would literally be like, oh, you're not staying for this class or oh, you're not doing that. I'm like, no, I have to work. Like, and it gave me like such a sense of like purpose for lack of I mean, I guess that's like a lot of what jobs do for people is give them a sense of purpose.
I also think I just thought about this. I think a big thing that helped with taking less class was like growing up, I did like competition dance. And I think like I genuinely got better by learning a dance and then like practicing it over and over again with like videos and like getting so nitpicky on the details that I learned like how I move best and like just what looks best on me. Like during competition season, we didn't take a ton. We had like one technique class, like one ballet class a week. We were like focusing on those dances. And so then like transitioning to New York City, it's like the same thing where I could take literally one class a week, but then I would go and like work on that combo, like work on the technique of it. And then that translates to the other classes. And then it was actually getting better rather than
more out of it.
Learning a combo and learning another one and learning another one, you know, like you really can like pull so much out of just one class. I think that's especially in like precision dance. That's what I was doing was like getting all the details down.
You were so good at that. Like I remember low key, like it was another test for me and not at you in a bad way, but I'd be like, dang, like you're like practicing right now. Like I'm like sitting on the couch, like eating some chips, like whatever. Like I'd be like, dang, like you are so good at doing the work like on your own and because you're so good at improv. Remember like I know all your like B-roll-y stuff for your reels and I'm like, dang, I could never.
It's just how I grew up, but I think also like getting like so honed in on the details, like practicing so much. I did that because sure, I wanted to practice, but I wanted to get to the point where I could do the combo and like actually dance it and feel confident and like enjoy that moment. So like I had to take those steps to get to the point where then I could like show up in class and like be so confident and stand in the front and all the things.
Yeah, you had like that data mindset right away too, whereas it took me a while to get to that place because I was that person that if I didn't pick up the choreography or I didn't like how I looked doing something, especially growing up, I would just forget about it. I'd be like, okay, well, I don't want to think about that versus, and that makes it personal, right? And it makes it about me versus like, hey, this doesn't define me as a dancer or a person. It's just like, oh, okay, like that's a weakness of mine. Like, let's work on that. And I feel like that's a really healthy approach to really anything in life. Really anything. I wanted to touch on dating and that scene because we obviously have very different experiences. And I don't have specific questions. I just wanted to like talk about that because I don't even know if you're still considered my boyfriend because now you have a boyfriend. So like what happens to that? You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe we don't have to discuss that right now. We can put a pin on that. But like just very different because I met Garrett like a week after I met you. And here we are. And you were like, I don't know. Because okay, here I've formulated a question for you. Like for me during like Rockette seasons, I'm like, yo, I don't think I would have survived without him. But granted, like, I'm sure if I would have done it, like, I would have obviously figured it out. But like, I don't know. I'm curious because there were most nights I didn't have to think about dinner. I didn't have to do that kind of stuff. But I also feel like there's probably like quite a few benefits to like not having anyone to answer to, because also like we would have 10 p.m. shows and I would get home and sometimes he would be like trying to stay awake or he would be like already asleep. And then I'm like home from a full night of shows and I'm trying to decompress, but then I'm also trying to be quiet and like, you know what I mean? Like, not that I could have been loud, but out of respect. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
No, totally. I think like pros and cons to everything probably. Not gonna lie, like I didn't love being single, like especially at that point. Like when I first moved to New York, I was like, yeah, dance. But
I was gonna say like, oh, I was like hot girl summer and okay. Dance, yeah.
So I was just like so focused in on that, but then it's like I kept living in New York. My dating life was a whole bunch of first dates basically, but I didn't love being single. But I think also probably like a pro to that is I feel like one of the hardest parts during Rockette season at least is that like I felt like I couldn't show up for the people in my life like how I wanted to. Like when my family came and visited, I was just like, I am not myself. Like I'm literally mute. I have no energy to like contribute to any of this, and that was really hard. So I feel like I don't know if you
and they're not seeing your day to day. So it's like probably a little bit like even Garrett he can't ever fully understand, obviously, but just seeing how long rehearsals are and just my energy and what actually was going into it. I feel like for him, and I still felt bad because I was a zombie and not myself. And like, I mean, I've said it a million times, like I didn't love the person I was during the season because of that, but like, he at least had a little bit of context. Whereas when you have family visiting from out of town and you're so grateful that they're there. And like, I remember so many times, even just close friends visiting to come see the show. And they're like, oh, let's get food. And like, oh my God, did you see it storming? My lights just flickered. Okay, we're back. Well, I'm actually going to be interested if we could hear that thunder in the episode because I assumed you couldn't hear it. And we lost my Wi-Fi for a second, but we back. So anyway, friends coming to visit. Oh yes, no, and like friends would come to visit, and and you're like, oh, I would suck it up 99% of the time, but like it was a chore is the wrong word, but it was a lot of effort. Like it was, and I tried so hard to be like present and stuff, but you just couldn't. So bringing it all back, like I feel like having someone with me, at least it was someone close to me that could understand what was going on, but not that it was fair though to him. What do you feel like about in general, like just the day to day in New York City pre-Rockettes?
What about it?
Like dating. Yeah, I don't know. Well, okay, because I talk about this too, where for me personally, and obviously we're different, but it was really nice to have someone outside too, so I could step away and be not talking about dance or thinking about dance. Cause like for me personally, like I always needed to step away for a second, let my brain like reset. And on a superficial level of like, I actually got to do fun stuff in New York because Garrett was not in the same place in his career or obviously same career as me. So like he could afford to go to brunch and stuff.
Yeah. No, honestly, when I first moved there, I like, this is maybe not the healthiest thing, but like it stressed me out to like do fun things. Like I didn't not care. And I didn't care that it stressed me out. Like I was just like, dance. That's it. Like
she was stressed about not having fun and living on the streets.
Exactly. And that was fine because like dance was so fun, you know, like that was my fun, and that's just what it was for that season of my life. And so that was like the pre-Rockettes me. I didn't really
you didn't
like
care.
Like of course I was like, I want to like meet my person someday. Like that is a dream of mine, but like not right now. I think I was just so overstimulated.
You weren't even like going on dates or like anything, were you? Yeah, no, she's like, nah, I don't care. Well, you had me. Yeah. Did I stress you out?
No, I liked hanging out with my friends.
No, That's valid. Well, like, you know, things happen when they're supposed to and on everyone's timeline or whatever.
Well, yeah.
So,
And then
like,
I think like I booked Rockettes and then I was like, okay, now let me like pay attention to the rest of my life. And then, yeah, I was like, I want to have
well,
fun.
how's dating now?
Dating now is great. If you asked me 6 months ago, I'd be like, terrible. I'd probably
Really?
cry.
6? No. Are
Yeah.
we coming up on 6 months?
No. It's
Oh,
June 5th.
I thought January.
Yeah, we met January 18th.
Oh, is that 5 months? Yeah, my math is
Yeah,
not
it's 5
mathing.
months. Yeah.
Okay,
So.
well, anything else you want to share with the class?
About what? Just dating?
Yeah, your life. Everyone wants to know.
Oh, my boyfriend now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Emma
Well,
approved of him. Your niece
yeah,
approved
no.
of him.
He's awesome and just everything that I've been dreaming of for the past million years, it feels like.
Eh,
And I was kind of thinking about this too. Like, I don't know. I never want to forget how hard it was like a year ago or like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like, it's hard to want something that you do not have.
Can
And
you
I was thinking
explain?
about that. Yes. I was thinking about that in like relating it to like Rockettes and how we did have fun with that journey and all the things. And it just like feels different in that like, I don't know, it was really hard for me. I don't think I was like very open about that even again, like 6 months ago of how just like I've been wanting to find my person for so long. And it was something like I constantly was like working on in my mind. Uh,
Yeah.
to be
Well,
not in like so down about it that it wasn't like,
yeah. Well, I think that's a thing too. I've been seeing more on the internet of just breaking down the fourth wall of like expressing things we want. Not that you have to like
yeah.
tell everyone or even the internet like what you want, but also just not being ashamed to
Mhm.
say what you want or like feel that want. I don't know, I feel like especially with dating because like
Mhm.
you'll hear some people be like, "Oh, well, you can't really like want it." But then it's like if you're not you can't you're not going to just meet someone if you're not thinking about it or wanting it.
Mhm. And you know what I think the difference is like with that, with Rockettes, if I was like, "Oh, I wanna be a Rockette," everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's such like an awesome dream." But then it's like, "Oh, I want a boyfriend so bad, like I wanna get married, whatever." It's like everyone's just like, of course it's gonna happen." And I'm
Or
like,
like and they like put a band-aid on it too. Like, okay,
"Yeah,
like you don't need to have that.
yeah,"
Where
or
it's
like,
like
"It'll happen when it's right." I'm like, "Okay, but I want it right now." Like, I don't know, it feels
you're
so
like, I actually don't have patience though.
yeah, well, 'cause yeah, it's just
No,
more
I
and like I will like my life is really good right now.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's
and
true.
but it's also like rockets too, or like any dream of it's a lot easier when you're on the other side to be like, oh, you have to enjoy the journey. And like when you're in it, not that we weren't enjoying it, but it's still like, okay, but like I'd like it to just be here now. I feel like that's normal
Yeah.
to just be like, well, you can enjoy the journey, but like still want it
Yeah.
to happen right now. I mean, I think for me, like the older I get too, I'm a little bit less wrapped up in I need to have this right now because I trust that things will happen, I
Mhm.
guess.
Mhm. I
But
think it
um
just depends on the thing, really.
yeah, but we love Nathaniel. Every time I see a picture of you two, I just wanna squeeze his cheeks, be like, "Ah,
So funny.
okay."
You always call him that.
Do I?
Yeah, can you just always call him
Oh, yeah, I love like a it's not even
a
like a
name?
unique name or a special name. It is his real name Nathaniel, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like I didn't like create a cool name for
No.
him, but
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, the last thing I wanted to touch on before we get into some of these questions that people submitted, um, I think the last time you came on was January, and that for me was my first season not doing Rockettes, your second, and so it was still fresh, and I remember it was like really nice for me selfishly to have you in
Mhm.
that like where you were done a year earlier than me. So like because it was hard. for me to, and obviously, like, it was really hard for me to go through that, but I am now in a place where that, like, grieving and that any animosity or whatever like that has left for the most part, that because it was just like a lot of things. But I just wanted to talk about that and like the difference of what 1 year can make from stepping away from something, even when it's the right decision for you. And it's not that you don't want to, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think like in that time and that like distance away from like performing, so many other things happen. Like it's just like life happens. So I remember that first season that I wasn't there. It was literally just throughout every single day. I'd be like, oh, right now, like today they're doing 12 days. Right now they're learning the fall. Like I knew like I could look at whatever time of day it was and be like, oh, right now they're on break. Like I just knew it to a T. And now being out, I'm like, I don't know. I know it's an hour and 20 minutes. And then I'm like, okay,
I'm
sure.
literally like, who's in the company anymore? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, and that's just because like we are living our life and like more has like been added to our life that we just don't have room to like think about that all anymore.
Yeah.
Of course, before it was all we ever thought about in the months of, October through January. So yeah.
Well, really the whole year also.
Oh, that's
because
it. Yeah.
that's like, it never stops. You're always thinking about how to be better, if you have to audition, if whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think that's been an interesting like dynamic because it actually hit me maybe 2 days ago where I was like, whoa, like I don't feel like this is a wound anymore, like walking away from it. Like, because they say when you're posting on social media or whatever for like the authenticity of, I saw someone say it really well about you post about scars, not wounds. And I don't think it was like an open wound necessarily, but it was still like a wound for me. And it was hard in that way. And now I'm finally like, okay, like you said, I have other things I'm doing and focusing on, and I'm slowly figuring it out after that. But okay, I don't really have a rhyme or reason for these, but let's see. We're going to get into some questions that we were, oh, this is a good one for you. Submitted. We were submitted. Okay. That's really good English. Tips for finding your style as a dancer and getting more comfortable with improv. Because like I said, unfortunately, like the improv part of that, I fear I'm not equipped to answer. So I'm going to let that go to you for a second.
Okay. So I think that they kind of go hand in hand with like learning your style and also improv. So growing up, I always, and I still do sometimes, but especially growing up, I was like the tall dancer and I just felt like a green bean and I was very awkward. Like had to figure it out. And so I think like literally taking videos of myself doing combinations and breaking it down to like, how can I make every single step just look better on myself? And so I learned a lot of different like positions or even like placements of like where my shoulders have to be, where my legs have to be, like my feet even in certain movements. And so then I could take that. And that did take a while to like learn and a lot of like precision.
Trial and error. Yeah.
Yeah. Learning that. And then I could take all of those little details and apply it to any combination that I learned, with, of course, like keeping the choreography in mind, but just thinking like, okay, how can I take this, put it on this choreography to just make me dance it the best? And that same thing applies to improv too.
Yeah.
And I had those details in my body. And I think with improv too, a good way to kind of like get more comfortable is like go in a studio by yourself, find a song that you really like, improv to it. And then I would take a video of that too, but usually I would kind of remember the moves and then make a combination out of the improv. That's like kind of what I don't know. And then I would like, take that video and also like, clean up the details a little bit and then have a combination. But it always starts from like improv. And I think that helps me get more like comfortable with the process too.
I mean, that's like great for choreography even. She's a wizard. Do you hear the thunder?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, it's crazy out there. Okay, but I wrote down 2 things for this. I also wait to wrap yours up though. Like also doing the hard work is unfortunately what that means is like which is something that when regards to improv, like I did not do. Like I did that for precision things, of course, whatever. But even then, I think I could have progressed faster if I was able to look at it more objectively. But also in the same breath, I think sometimes you look at anything, videos, but for the sake of this, videos of your dancing, and you don't like know how to fix some things too. I mean, at least for something like precision. I mean, improv is very subjective, of course, but like I think until I was getting mentors, I was like, okay, I see that I'm not quite doing this right, but I don't know what it is to like articulate it. So I think that's good too. But do you have any thoughts on like an alter ego of like finding your style, or like do you get into that? Because I never got like as far into it as I would want to, but I think there's a way of like a mindset too of just having to a little bit turn it on, but then also embodying that in your real life, because then it kind of becomes one of like the mental of it. I think a lot more of your style is mental.
Yeah, I think I do agree. Are you okay? Like
my house. This is also through like a microphone recording. This is the weather here.
You're not outside. Like it sounds like you're literally sitting in your front lawn.
No, because it's also raining, so you would hear at least you probably can't hear the rain, but this is like, that's bad. Sometimes the wind is that loud at night, and I've literally been like, it'll be like 2 a.m, and I'm like, Garrett, is our house gonna fall down? Like, what is? Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Anyways, well, I do think that like you can have your style that you feel like so confident in. I do want to say, I think for a lot of my life, I was forced to do the things that I'm like just not comfortable in, like just growing up in competition dance and then in college too. Even just like back to the improv thing, I had a whole semester of an improv class, and like every week our homework was to submit a video of us improving for 20 minutes. So like I do want to say, yeah, I know. So I do think that part of it is like pushing yourself to do the things that are just uncomfortable. And that doesn't mean that you have to learn to love it or like grow to love it, but it's literally just so that you can be more comfortable doing it. And how can that add to like the styles that you do really like? And I think with like the whole like alter ego thing is, I think we can do that with like confidence. Like I could trick myself into being like, nope, I'm so confident, like, and kind of like put that hat on. But I'm like, my brain's going to those combinations that were just like so like musical theater and like acting. Never loved those. Like act, like just wasn't for me. And I, for so long, tried to like force myself to love it. And I think that's very different than just being like confident in when you have to do it. So that is like a balance that I don't really know if I found. Because I kind of got to the point where I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, right, if it's not going to serve what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
I actually had that written down too, is like recognizing your strengths and learning how to showcase them. And like knowing what you're good at. And that doesn't mean neglect the things you're bad at, but also not neglecting the things you're good at, because I feel like so often you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm good at that, so I don't need to work on that anymore. Where it's like, well, how can you finesse it and be even better at that and like make that your thing? Yeah. And also, this isn't a tangent now, but what you said about like, why am I doing this? Because I don't like it. Can we talk about that for like a hot second of the versatility piece of, actually, there's a question on this. It'll segue me into this thought. Well, it's not really a question, but I want to be a Rockette, but it feels scary being so specific. So like, what are our thoughts on that? Because there's so much where it's like, oh, be a versatile dancer, which to me, I'm like, yeah, you should be versatile enough, but I think I like made a reel about this. I was like, you don't see like Misty Copeland going to a hip hop audition. Like that it doesn't mean she's not an incredible, amazing dancer. And I'm sure maybe she's taken a hip hop class once in her life. Like who knows? Maybe not. Can't quote me on that. But like thoughts on that. Sorry, I just really got
no, I think for me is I grew up with like contemporary being my favorite. Even in college too, I thought I was going to go like concert dance route. And so then going into like precision dance, I could see how having that side of me helped me so much. And I do think Rockettes, it's like you do have to be specific with it. Like it is precision dance, but also then viewing those other styles that you know you like. How can that help you in that style? And because I had that, it was like I was taking the contemporary classes but it was because I loved it. Then on the flip side of that, there was like the jazz funk, like hip hop. Never had a good time in those classes, but I did force myself to take them sometimes. And I think, sorry,
I'm just wait, but I had a flashback of conservatory, and you know the combo I'm thinking of like where it was like a jazz funky thing, and we were on. Sorry,
but see, like that's why it's good. I like took some jazz funk hip hop. Like granted, again, like college growing up, I was forced to take those classes, but then I chose to take those classes because okay, then I was in Rockette Conservatory and had to do I don't like all these jazz funk things.
Do you remember the Horton class too?
The Horton class.
Wait.
Like, yeah, it shows up.
Do you remember when we went and took that one Horton class?
Yeah, of course.
We got the conservatory like lineup, and I don't know what it is now, but when we did it the first year it ever existed, it was a ballet class in the morning, followed by a technique class, and then lunch, and then Rockette like choreo, whatever, in the afternoon. And one day it was Horton. And so Alli and I went to, I think it was Ashley McQueen, shout out. She taught at Pure War. She taught Horton at Perry. We went and took it, and we were like, all right, we're good. But it was so hard. We were like,
it's so hard, but we didn't go there to like become a master at Horton in one class. We went there so that we could kind of get through like the discomfort of like, oh, this is our, it wasn't the first time ever doing Horton, but like just like brushing up, like get through that discomfort. So then like at conservatory, we could show up and like maybe not be like super, super confident in Horton, but at least like in ourselves of like, I trust that I can.
Yeah. And I laugh because I know we felt so out of place going to that class, and we were like, oh my God, here we go. But like, also no one knew us there because it was just a different crowd of people than we were, used to. This is another one I want to make sure we get for you. New question. I want to use nutrition as a tool to have more energy in my dancing, but hiring help isn't in my cards right now. What are some simple steps I can take to get started? And I said, yeah, not for me. I'm literally still, I'm like, I joke all the time. I'm like, should I book a session with you? Because I'm getting so much free advice from Alli.
No, totally. Okay. So the question is like to feel more energized.
Yes.
That's the goal.
I think like to like fuel the body and like use food as fuel. Effectively.
Well, I would say really just looking at how like maybe often you're eating. And I think I would look at that first. Really like baseline is you want to, of course, like meals throughout the day. And like, I always say have something before like every dance class, workout class, whatever it is. Looking at that and making sure like the whole balanced situation, carbs, protein, fats, and everything. But especially dancers, I think we forget how many like carbs we need. That is going to be like our main source of energy. So right before dance and like right after, it's super easy also for like exercise to suppress appetite. So as soon as you can after dance class, you're not going to feel hungry, but it's going to feel so much better to just like replace those energy stores that you just like, worked off. But
why didn't I know that before? Because
your appetite,
the suppression of it, because you remember me after shows, I would eat Hot Pockets because I was like, I can't eat. Yeah. But that makes sense now.
Yeah. Exercise does that. Nerves, anxiety, excitement.
Okay. Well, Love. Okay, that's very helpful. Moving on. How can I effectively train as an adult at a pre-professional level without studio structure? I wrote some notes because I had the privilege of seeing these before we recorded. I said to like, for me, setting goals and making a schedule around it, and like goals in the sense of, okay, you have a goal and that means I want to be taking 3 dance classes a week. And so you're scheduling that in. And I think what's also really helpful for that like studio structure is finding classes and teachers that you like and then going every week, because then they like, I feel like a lot of teachers will have an unspoken curriculum. And I don't know, I think it took me a while to realize that in New York too, of like, I would just try to bop around, but like those teachers that have the same slot every week and they get to know you too. So then it does feel a little more personal, like a studio, and you're not one person in a sea of 50 people.
Yeah, I would say that same thing. And I also heard a lot of people doing this. I never did this, but kind of viewing like quarters in the year and being like, okay, this quarter, this is my schedule. These are my teachers I go to every week. And that way then, like what you were just building off of what you were saying, you build the relationship with that teacher. And then maybe there's like one slot in the week where you kind of just like pick and choose, go with the flow of like the teachers that just like pop up on the schedule, or maybe like you go back to someone that you were taking last quarter or whatever it is. So that could always be a good way to see it too, and like split up the year in that way too.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. I think, and it's also kind of what we've already been talking about of like having that open mind and awareness about yourself. And I think it does take a lot more self-reflection, because you don't have, your same dance teacher and they haven't seen you for years and they can tell you what you need and they're the professional. But I think in the same breath too, when you do build relationships with different teachers, not being afraid to like ask them, because I would argue 99% of teachers that are teaching want to help people and grow, and are probably, especially if you're someone like, don't go take someone's class one time and then be like, oh, can you give me feedback? Like that's probably weird. But like once you've like built a relationship with someone, like, hey, like this is my goal. This is what I feel like I've been struggling with. Like what are your thoughts on it? And I think you can kind of start to build like in that way.
Yeah.
Too. I don't know. Okay. This one. I'm so excited, but also not. I'm learning the shim sham and tap, and I could not do it to save my life. And I had to look up what the shim sham was, because I was like, there's like so many different names for tap things, but like, is it like it's like a full routine?
Yeah, the only thing I can like vaguely remember is I think in college in tap, I think we had like, that was like one of our practicals. Like it was a little, I had to look it up too, of like what exactly is like the shim sham, but
I feel like, okay, and also if my tap teacher, if Miss Christine's listening to this, don't be mad, because I know we've like done a version of it, but like in my head it was like a Cincinnati or a Maxi, whatever. Like I was like, oh, it's like that, but it's like a combination.
Yeah,
it's like the da 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 da, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
But
it's like something that you can build, like like a time step. Like there's a single, there's a couple,
yeah. Well, I had in general too, like I just had some tap tips maybe, because I don't think I can speak to
is
the
one
shim
of your
sham.
tips writing it down?
Yeah. Wait, I actually wrote write it, say it, do it.
Yeah,
which is honestly iconic advice that changed my tap life. But like literally writing it seems so silly and tedious, but it actually is so helpful, because if you think about tap, like there are moments pre me doing this and actually thinking of it, like I feel like I wasn't thinking in steps or words. I don't even know what I was thinking, like, which is weird. I don't know what I was thinking, but if you can write down, like go to a class, learn a combo, go home, write down, like shuffle, step, tap, full out, like whatever, like write it all out. And then like, and then you have to like, and you could say it, because also, I don't know, growing up, I'd always be so impressive too. Anytime I would take any tap class and the teacher would like say like the steps as they were, I was like, whoa, that's really really cool. And then I tried to do it one time when I was teaching and I was like, oh my God, I can't. But like with practice, you can't. But when you're trying to really get good at that. And then I also had like really focusing on weight shifts and where your weight is. That like changed my life too. I learned that growing up in tap, but it reigns true of like, it really is all about, it's just a bunch of weight shifts. I mean, it's not, but you know, in theory.
No, I think like being able to write it out and then say it, like I think that's the difference between like short-term memory and long-term memory and like actually getting it in your body. And then I would say just breaking it into like little chunks and pieces and doing it every day. Like doing literally the first 2 steps on one day, then next day like adding on a little bit more and a little bit more. And kind of building it that way.
And and then like when you're doing that, you can kind of start to again dissect like what it is that you're struggling with. Like, are you struggling with remembering what comes next? Are you struggling with the articulation of your foot? Like, what is it specifically? So then you can start to because maybe it's just that and you need to do some more ankle like exercises, like whatever. So if what part of the technique it is, which that's good. That's good. Okay. Next question. This is long. I want to build muscle to have better dynamics and control in my dancing, but part of me is nervous about my body looking different. I am caught up on the visual side when I want to prioritize how I feel and am dancing. Do you have advice on how to shift that mindset?
Yeah. Let me think of like the best. I feel like I could talk about this all day. Well, I think with like the body changing, we just have to, it's hard. Change in general is hard, right? Like even at the beginning of this, talking about moving to New York City, like change, even the best of change is hard, but we have to realize like our body is going to change throughout our whole life. So feels better to kind of accept that fact, rather than resist it and be so against your body changing, because we can also at the same time with that concept be open to like, it could be the best change. You could be really happy. Like your body could change and you could be like, actually, awesome.
Love it. Really cool. Really good.
And I think with any of that, you have to come back to the intention and like the goal with that. And the intention at the beginning of that question was so like healthy and pure of just like wanting to be a stronger dancer and, you know, specific goals underneath that as well. Being able to move faster. I don't know. That was a big thing I had to learn also. That strength is going to help so much. So you have to keep your focus, especially as a dancer, on those performance goals rather than, the appearance goals. And that's something that, you know, of course, like we've kind of been taught the opposite, but just keep coming back to the whole point of that.
Yeah. Well, and like not that you don't want to worry about the visual thing too, but I also feel like we're in an era, luckily now, where strength is not feared in dance. Even like you see like ballerinas like lifting weights and like getting strong. And I'm assuming by how this was worded that, you know, the whole like, oh, I'm going to get bulky or whatever. And I also think you could probably speak to this too. Like, it's hard to build that much muscle that you are quote unquote bulky. Like, I think people also like, they're like, oh, I'm going to pick up a 20-pound weight and I'm going to be like a bodybuilder. Like, that's also like not the case either. And it's also really hard. Like your body, it changes, but I feel like major change in your body, like it doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think that's a good reminder as well, is the body is so complex and nothing happens overnight. I always use the analogy of like thinking about your hair growing. It's not every single day you're not looking in the mirror and being like, oh, it's like, I don't know, like
wait, that is such a good
But then it's like, okay, 6 months down the line, you look at a picture of your hair 6 months ago and you're like, oh, it was a lot shorter. Cool. But it's like you were able to tolerate, like you didn't even notice your hair growing because it doesn't happen overnight. And I think we have to remember that with the body changing too, is might not even notice it. It's not going to be that drastic, but you will notice the change in strength. And that's going to feel so good when you're dancing.
I was going to say too, I think from living that firsthand too, because for me, when I started actually strength lifting weights, I remember the moment I was literally in Chicago at a Planet Fitness because I was dating someone who we were like going to the gym and working out more. And I was like, oh my God, I could not believe how much differently I was moving. And I was able, like you already touched on, like I was able to do those fast movements. I was able to have no movement in between my shapes. Like I was able to do it, which I think even if your body does change and for whatever reason you like didn't like it, whatever that would even mean, the benefits, it would so far outweigh if you maybe liked how you looked before. Like it's just, there's no even comparison. And even if you're not dancing, just prioritizing being strong and having control over your body. I mean, I even say to my mom, like, yeah, like you have to be strong because one day you're going to be old and you're going to like trip and you want to be able to like pick yourself up. I don't know. So I don't know. I could go. So I guess the shift of the mindset is thinking about how I love the what if I like it, I think is great. And I think remembering that your goal is to be strong and that should be not, you would hope that would be a little more important than how you look.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was rude to say like that.
The goal is to feel good, you know?
Yeah. To feel good. I love being sore from picking up a 20-pound weight. I'm like, ooh, yeah. That's what I always say too, where I'm like, I didn't love the not having energy, but I love being sore. Like I never, within reason. I mean, those days where you're like, I don't even actually know how I'm going to kick or move right now, but you always do it anyway. Like it always happened.
Yeah. Well, it's because we love like what's underneath that, you know, like the push and the work and the details.
Yeah, because we love growing.
Or
okay.
Like, yeah. Okay.
No, go ahead. You can keep going.
I was just going to say, like, loving being sore from like lifting weights. It's like, that's getting you closer to feeling better in your dancing. Like, that's why we like that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you worked hard. Yeah. I'm going to go to this one next. How can I get over imposter syndrome and feel confident at auditions? I have so many thoughts.
I think knowing it's okay to like fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like nobody knows really when you're like walking into an audition anything about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course. Like, they can look at your resume and stuff, but that, I don't know. I always approached everything with like, I had to tell myself like, I'm the best and I'm too good for this a little bit. I had to tell myself that to take off the pressure because the pressure wasn't helping me at all.
Yeah. I wrote this down. Let me know what you think about this. I was like, oh, this is pretty good, Gabby. But like, I wrote down confidence is a choice, not a feeling. I think so many people wait till they're like, oh, I like want to be confident and I want to feel confident, but like you have to choose to be confident. Like, I don't even, because it's not like, to me, it's not like a feeling where you're like, oh, like I feel really excited right now. I feel really nervous right now. Like, I mean, not that you can't, but I don't feel like that's something even confident people are like, oh, I feel really confident about this. Like, I think what you would say is like, oh, I'm really excited for this opportunity. Like, you know what I mean? It would show up differently than confidence. Yeah,
I get I love that. It's like, I'm so excited to go do this combo. And like, that's confidence, right? Is like, oh, I cannot wait to like show.
Yeah. So I think that's like helpful, is like remembering it's a choice, not a feeling. And also I have thought a lot about imposter syndrome because I mean, we all feel it all the time. And I think like to me also imposter syndrome comes from a little bit from not being an expert or like being a beginner. And I think that we need to like be okay with that. Like you don't need to be an expert at things. And like you feel like an imposter because you've never done it before. So like, how do you feel not like an imposter? You just keep doing it and you like learn. Yeah. Like we all started as a beginner.
There are like so many examples of that too. If you like really search, like, I don't know, I could think of people who are like Rockettes who before their first season had never done a precision dance combination before in their life. Like, And it happened for them. So it's like, why not me was a big question. Like I would always say, I feel like you use that one too. Of just,
Yeah.
why
I
not
love
me?
why not me. Yeah. Well, because for a while I was like, why would it happen for me? But then it's like literally, what's the flip of that? Yeah, that's so good. I think that it's a work in progress. You're feeling confident at auditions. It's like, it's a practice, right? Like auditioning isn't natural. It's not normal. It's not something we do all the time. It's like it's like a job interview. People get nervous before a job interview. And I think that's okay. And I think it's really less about like, how can I not feel like an imposter? And it's like, how can I calm my nerves down and how can I trust myself? I think trust is a bit better, maybe a better thing to focus on and a little more controllable to like trust yourself. And it comes from proving to yourself and doing the reps. But
yeah, and like trust the prep that you've put into it too. Of trusting like, I don't know, like your dance career and like training in general, but also like the outfit that you're picking to wear, how you're doing your hair, what you are having for breakfast, like trusting, like put your trust in that and those tangible things that you can control. So then you can kind of release like the things that you can't. Because like in auditions, that's probably the biggest thing that stresses us out is that there are parts that we can't control. So you have to just keep directing your focus to what you can.
Yeah. Because I think for me too, and I know you feel the same way, like the year that we booked the job, like we went in and we were like, no, this is happening.
Yeah.
And it's because we prepped and worked hard and like did also the mental work of it. Of course we knew there was a possibility that it wouldn't happen, but like deep down, but that just like wasn't our thought process.
Yeah.
And if you're not there yet, that's okay. And I also like say that with hesitation of like, if you don't feel like that, that doesn't mean you shouldn't audition, but it's just like, yeah, it's a gradual thing that over time you're like, okay, actually, like, no, I know I can do this. And it's a cool place to be. Yeah. Okay. We have one more question that I want to get through, which I really like this one too. How can you squash the voice in your head that says you are doing, quote, too much in class? I hate that obnoxious or like pick me energy, but also want to be entertaining.
Okay. So I fear I was quite the opposite.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like I had to push myself to be more, like I liked being very like subtle and not like that. But I think with any voice in our head, I think kind of seeing it as like, I would say maybe that is like critical self a little bit. And that's going to show up and it's about being like, okay, is this helping me right now? I would say you being hard on yourself for like being too much. I don't know that's like helping you. So just asking yourself, am I benefiting from entertaining this thought right now? And like, what else can I say? But maybe also defining like what too much is, like, what is that for you? And where we like, how do you want to show up and then show up like that?
Well, and I also like, to me, if you're a person that is like wondering if you're being too much and you're like, oh, like I don't want to be that person, like you're probably not that person. True. Because I would also argue like most people are not giving enough.
Yeah.
Like most people. And the people that maybe are coming off as like they're giving too much, they're actually probably giving the right amount. And they're just not afraid to be seen and be fearless because that's what dance jobs take, right? Like I mean, I think about it to how I would dance in a class versus how I would have to dance on stage for 6,000 people. Like you cannot dance small. I don't think there of course is a thing of too much. Like, okay, like you need to like control your energy, but like performance wise, like that type of energy, I think the only time it's too much if it's coming from the wrong place.
Yeah. Also, you know what I just thought of, like specifically in Rockettes, like audition, like that whole world, they're always saying like, give more, give more, give more. We will tell you if you are giving too much. So maybe this person, like, honestly, you're probably in a great place and like allow someone else to tell you that you're doing too much. So when your mind is saying that, it's like, actually, no. Our thoughts aren't always.
Yeah.
So maybe you're just like, actually, that's not true. I'm just going to like keep doing me. And if I need to like pull it in, I'll be told by the, friend of it.
Yeah. And also, and like also, because this is one is specifically in class too, which also like makes me think that this person is like a little worried in that headspace of like worried what people are thinking of them, which is totally normal. But again, people are one who cares and people are thinking about themselves. Like we just really underestimate. That's like, not to bring it really full circle before we wrap up. Like Pure Bar I would have new clients come in and people would be really nervous about like people watching. Like I'd be like, oh, come stand in the front by me so I can help you. And they're like, oh, like I don't want people to watch me. I'm like, no one's watching you. No one's watching you. Like everyone, unless you're like one of those people that, you turn around and do knee-ups the wrong direction, then you're staring at everyone instead of like with them. Like then they're looking at you because you're facing the same way as me. But other than that, like, no one's watching you. But wow, okay, you guys, before we started this, Alli was like, we really can't talk for that. Like it won't be more than like an hour. And I was like, honey.
Yeah, no, we can talk all day forever. I could keep doing this all day long.
Yeah, we always joke sometimes during the day too. I'm like, we should just really record our conversations and put it on like YouTube or something because we got some good little nuggets. I just thought of a story that we were talking about before we recorded that didn't make it in, but that's okay. But guess what? Maybe you'll just have to come back.
Yeah, or like a pod swap.
A pod swap. Oh yeah, we love a pod swap. Do that. Yeah, probably. But okay, we're gonna wrap it up because this is already a long episode. So Alli, thanks for being here. You guys, if you're still here, I hope you're following the show. I hope you're following Alli. I'll link where she is on all the things, but I'm sure you already know, but it's all going to be linked. And also if you liked the style vibe, I don't think it was like that different from what normal episodes are, but also if you liked the chit-chatting, like cute times, let us know. And if you have any other questions that we could get to in another one, or I could get to with someone else, whatever. Yay. Thanks for coming on, Al.
Thanks for having me.
Allison.
Also, thank you, Gabrielle. I also wanted to say if anyone feel free to message, especially the nutrition question or literally anything. But I'm happy to get more specific on all of that. I was thinking that after the nutrition thing, but,
Yeah.
Message me.
She's a resource.
Yeah.
Message away. And, maybe there's a pod swap coming. So maybe we can just answer it anyways. But thanks for being here. Love you. And thanks for kicking it with us.